This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Well, I don't know. Should we just explain what we just did at Audley or not? Because it's quite funny that I've been talking to you for about 45 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And I thought we were talking kind of off camera. You thought that the interview had started. So what
We
can
had
you do?
45 minutes, but it's all good.
But
It's all
people
good.
would want to know now what that 45 minutes was about. That's the beauty of it.
True.
First of all, Audley, sorry, for the viewers of IFL, how are you, my friend?
I'm feeling good, buddy. Um, for Christmas, New Year's, I was on lockdown. People are like, oh, how come I haven't seen you post or doing anything? The first week of bloody January, we all got COVID. My daughter brought it home, basketball probably. And my wife got it, then my son got it, then I got it. So we had like 2.5 weeks of freaking beating up, getting beaten up and beaten back COVID. But then, 2 weeks, we said, get the fuck out, got it out of it. And I was lucky. We had a lot of early treatments at home. People like cuss out ivermectin. Ivermectin works to treat. It's beautiful. There's so much research done on ivermectin. Famidin, which is like a Pepsi. There's just so much stuff we had. Vitamin C, black seed oil, just took everything. And then, over the 2 weeks, really just like got better. Even had like a hyperbaric chamber, oxygen chamber. Had like a vitamin drip, which was just beautiful. So all of this stuff I took like it's clean up. People are like, yeah, why don't you just take the vaccine? No thanks. So kept ourselves clean and everyone's good now. And part of going through this COVID thing, like help rejuvenate, like revitalize, because I realized how strong I am and how strong my family is. It's just family and unity and strong is all connected. And we kicked COVID's ass, kicked them out of our house to get lost. So I'm beautiful, baby. My year started late, but it started now. And this year, 2022, as you've seen online, with the carnage out there, Audley Harrison, I am not playing around this year. Like I've truly like got my strength back. Truly like, I'm a king. I'm not like Olympic gold medalist. Yeah, okay, won the Olympics. There's not many people do. It's a very privileged few who've won an Olympic gold medal. It's the way that I won it. And it's the way that I took control of my career. It's the way that I took control of boxing in the UK after Sydney. That gave me my power. That's why when I'm like now clashing with people like Froch, it's just like a joke. Like, not on my level, not now, not ever. Yeah, he's a world champion. Like the story of Froch is, we'll touch on that. We can talk about that. But I'm feeling good, buddy. And I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling great. I feel like rejuvenating. And part of that rejuvenation, because I walked away from boxing. I'm in the hair care business. I'm like, fuck boxing. But the reason why it was fuck boxing was because I wasn't ready, partly because I didn't have the strength. And I didn't have the leverage to be able to take back my place on the throne. Like, I haven't won a world title. I'm not a Hall of Famer. I'm a heavyweight king. I'm a king. I'm a guy. I won a gold medal, changed boxing forever in the UK. Sheffield Institute of Sport should actually be called the Audley Harrison Sheffield Institute of Sport. That's how powerful I am. That's how much my influence has been on the UK boxing. Because of the Frank Warrens of the world and these merry men with the press. And thank God for Celebrity Big Brother and Kelly in the house, who told the story of how Frank and his merry men used to meet every week. How they used to think about how they could mess me up. Because they're like, Audley, look, you're a boxer. We couldn't make you take over boxing. And so I'm beautiful, baby. I'm beautiful because I'm back to tell my story with the power and the leverage all back. And it all started, the reason why it's such a beautiful thing is because I went to Tyson Fury and Deontay, went to 2 of the fights. But the last fight, the third fight, the last one, like the feeling that I got from that fight, I've been very privileged to be able to go to some of the biggest fights around the world. The last time I felt that energy, that vibrance, Nigel Benn and Gerald McKenna. The last time I was in a fight with that kind of intensity, with that kind of like gladiatorial fight to the death. I mean, like Wilder Fury, technically, you know, I mean, Fury was more technical. Wilder was just strictly, this is the gladiator. It's my life. I'm gonna put it on the line. You're gonna have to kill me to beat me. Like, that's why boxers are a very special breed. Human beings don't go there. Human beings don't go there. If you understand what Deontay Wilder did in that fight, in terms of where he went mentally, he really believed, like especially how they took the piss out of him for the first time. He really took, you know, that movie Gladiator. He took that. I saw it. I knew it. I spoke to them. You know, I could see it. When he walked out there, this was my death fight. And this guy over there, Tyson Fury, you will have to kill me to beat me. That was his mentality in the fight. I don't care what I do, it ain't about boxing. You're going to have to kill me. Now, Tyson Fury wasn't in there trying to kill him. He was just in there to do his job. Technically, because of the Emmanuel Stewart and Sugar Hill background, he had more technical, but he had the stuff. The lineage of, I had Phil Torrance, who was with Eddie Futch for 40 years. Their training and tutelage go back 100 years. Emmanuel Stewart, his tutelage goes back 100 years. So Sugar Hill, Andy Lee, they've been touched by that. Robert McCracken, to be fair, he was with Phil Torrance as well. So he got touched by that. He has some of the stuff. He's gone stale now and he's lost his way. He's got too many fighters into England camp and all that bullshit. So he's lost his way a bit. There's only a few fighters, trainers, that have the stuff. The rest of the trainers couldn't carry my kickback. That's no disrespect. There's some great trainers out here, like Buddy McGirt, he's part of studies, who I've been in touch with, Phil Torrance, and Buddy McGirt and Shadid Saluki. All three of them have been touched by that lineage of trainers from 100 years. There's only a few trainers out there left. The rest of them are glorified padmen, think they know boxing. They don't know boxing shit. They couldn't carry my kickback. Because what I learned in boxing, who I had, because of the Phil Torrance connection and what they taught me, up until 2004 when Superman left the building, stuff that I was doing in the ring on the inside and the outside. I remember talking, Lennox came and watched what I bought for Michelle Ciccia in London at Wembley. And what I did on the outside, what I did, Lennox said, boy, what do you fight better on me on the inside? I was like a clinical finisher. I'm into that fight. It was that fight with Michelle Ciccia. I would have fought Anthony Joshua, any fighter I could have fought that night. I would have destroyed them, any fight. It was just almost like, I was almost complete, almost my completion was almost there in terms of like what I was learning in the gym. But I'm just saying, Audley Ariston, in terms of like where I was going with the whole HBO and just the boxing, I was the next guy. I was the next guy. So I have all of that stuff. I walked away from boxing, but all of that stuff is here in my head in terms of like, because obviously after boxing you should be training, not just training, managing guidance, like Emmanuel Stewart. But we don't just train fighters. We manage and guide their careers. I manage, not now. Well, remember when I came as a box promoter, I did have 5 or 6 fighters. David A used to fight on my fights. A lot of them used to come off my fights. But what I have in here, the knowledge that I have in here as a promoter, as a manager, as a trainer, as a king, boxing heavyweight king, is unsurpassed in the UK for sure. There is not another person in the UK right now that knows what I know about boxing. There's not another person, whether it's training point, managing point. In America, of course, I'm still a youngster on the way up.
Audley, let me just ask you, obviously, you've been active on social media, but it seems to be over the last 2 or 3 days, let's just kind of address this first of all. Over the last 2 to 3 days, you've kind of bitted some comments, but been very kind of vocal and active. Has there been a specific reason why you've been that vocal and kind of, listen, a lot of it's tongue in cheek, a lot of it's humour, a lot of people obviously having digs at you about various things. You've come back in a kind of a bantery kind of way, but is there a reason why over the last 2-3 days, especially on Twitter, you've become kind of a very much talked about point on my timeline anyway?
Yeah, so as I was explaining to you, and just to bring it all together, like COVID, beating up COVID, like rejuvenated me, made me like set my, like going through it. It's like, even though I go through the valley of death, I fear no evil. You know, I never got it was never close like that or anything like that. But it just like, I'm like, this fucking COVID and these vaccine mandates kind of just rejuvenated me to like live my authentic self. So my goal 2022 and moving forward is to go back to how I used to be, which is in your face with no apologies. That's kind of what happened with COVID. And then subsequently to that is I told you I went to the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury fight. I hadn't been to a fight like that since like bringing together Gerald McLean and Nigel Benn. And the fight was so raw, so pure, I actually fell in love with boxing again. Because I was out of love with boxing, like fuck boxing, because I couldn't find a way. I was like, I couldn't figure out how am I going to get my leverage back? How is the king going to be able to walk back in on the throne? Because I'm not boxing, I'm not going to get. How is the king going to be able to reclaim his place in boxing how it should be? Because I know I'm respected by fighters. Any fighter in the world, I know every fighter in the world, they've all known me, they all see me. Yeah, they saw me fall. But I know the respect. You know, I have my place on Mount Rushmore of boxing. I'm not a Hall of Fame fighter. I'm not a guy who won many world titles. But the way I came through boxing, the trail that I blazed, was a path nobody had. I blazed my own trail. That's why I took all the bullets, because, you know, Frank Warrens of the world, they couldn't handle this black boxer. He's on BBC, as his own promoter, making his own millions. And he's not sharing none of it with us. So, you know, I had to fight the system, and they had all the press men, as Kelly said in the house, they had all the press, they all used to write their crap about me every week from my first fight. So they say reputation is everything, guarded with your life. So they was able to destroy my opponent. They say his performances weren't no good, he's not boxing nobody. Do you know, when I turned pro, part of the strategy was, I'm on BBC, you remember, so I can only fight fighters on BBC. Frank signs up every heavyweight in Britain. I'm saying every heavyweight in Britain became a Sky fighter, which means they became not available for Audley Harrison. Couldn't fight. And every week the press is saying, Audley, when are you going to fight? When are you going to fight somebody? You're not fighting nobody in this main event. I'm like, you fucking arseholes. You know, why are you telling the truth? You know Frank's got all the heavyweights on Sky exclusively. And so I cannot fight not one of them. And so I have to go and find the best versions of shit that was out there. Because I'm not going to go fight a world title in my first fight. So I'm learning the game. And so it's important to have these learning curve fights. But why are they making it main event then? If they're main event, we need to have main event fighters, because that's how boxing's been done for 100 years, Audley. You don't come in the game and try and change it. It's not what we do. Like I said, I don't give a shit what you say. I've got the BBC in my pocket, okay? And they've said to me, categorically, Audley Harrison, in their posh public school voice, Audley Harrison, listen, you've won the Olympics for the country, and the whole world knows Audley Harrison. The grandmas, when we say, do you know Audley Harrison? They say, yes, that lovely sweet boy with the braids with the Olympics, we loved him. The kids know Audley Harrison. The dads know Audley Harrison. And obviously the wives know Audley Harrison. They all love him. So how are we, the BBC, going to sign off a check for any of these? We like these boxers that you've got talking about, Robin Reed. And, oh, look, here's Robin Reed in the background. I've got my second, is that my second poster now? We can't pay for those fighters to be main event. Grandmas don't know them, the kids don't know them. The only person that can be main event is you, Audley. Now, we'll pay you a big signing bonus. We'll also pay you to be your own promoter. I'll get this on. Okay, Audley, we'll give you everything that you want. You have to be the promoter. You have to be the fighter too. I'm like, look, how much do you pay Jonathan Ross, Gary Lineker? Because if that's what you're saying, Match of the Day gives you what? Like 3 million viewers, 2.2 million viewers. You're like, yeah, okay. So he's on like 4 mil. Jonathan Ross is on at like 10:30 Saturday night. I'm just viewing figure he gets like 3 mil. He's on like 4 mil. I'm like, okay. So because of my, the Olympics, 4 o'clock in the morning, there was 4 million people watching. That means, so what you're saying to me, they said, look, Audley, you're a boxer, but we don't look at it like that. You're a personality. You're a commodity for the network. So you're just like a Jonathan Ross. You're just like a Gary Lineker. That's how we look at it. It's like, what kind of viewing figures are you going to do? My pro debut, baby, was 6 million viewing figures. It beat Match of the Day. It beat Jonathan Ross on Saturday night. Jonathan was he on Saturday night. It beat all of them. So the £1 million signing bonus, they got me for cheap, and they knew it. And they were fucking happy as Larry, because they've got a commodity that's giving them 6 million viewing figures. They didn't pay me $1 million. Then they gave me a signing bonus for $1 million, £1 million quid. They got me for cheap. They knew it, and I knew it, and that was cool. So what happened? Well, what happened was the mistake that they made, and I made, but the mistake that they made, the naivety that they had, they didn't realize the power of Frank Warren, these merry men of all the press. They didn't realize that. I said to them, look, boxing, you've forgotten 15 years ago with Bruno, and everyone complaining that he's stinking the house out and he's knocking over these tomato cans in one hand. Mickey Duff was taking the piss. They forgot. Because boxing can do that, can have that stench where people are like, oh, something's not right. But I told them, look, it's going to be difficult, right? I had a great, again, this is the thing that people don't know, how great I was and how great I am. Johnny Boss, bless his cotton socks, was my matchmaker from America. I had an English matchmaker in Harry Holland, but my main matchmaker was Johnny Boss. Johnny Boss is, if anybody knows boxing, he's royalty, like in terms of like matchmaker, like go back like 100 years, he's learning his lineage. That's who my matchmaker was. That's who I had when he's there in New York. I remember actually coming to New York. That was great. I came to New York. LeBron James. It was a basketball draft. LeBron James. I was actually in the arena, ringside, you might say ringside, when LeBron James got drafted to the NBA. Remember this tall little lanky kid stopped him, gave him a fist pump. That's, I mean, just like the privilege that I've had of where I've been, what I've seen, like no comparison to the Carl Frochs of the world. Obviously, going to see the Queen. I mean, going to see Mom, get my MBE. Not everybody got to see Mom. She didn't just come down for anybody. Mom only came down for certain people, right? And you know what's even more powerful, beautiful, because my favorite royal, Princess Anne, she came to my fight in the Olympics. She came, first time a royal had gone to an Olympic fight. She came to my fight. I was making so much noise in the Olympics. She had to come and see this kid. This kid making all this noise. It was for my bronze medal bout, and I beat up the Ukrainian. But nevertheless, so I'm sitting in Buckingham Palace. We all got to line up after I got my MBE. We all got to line up. And there's like 20, 30 people lined up. And Mom walks past. She's walking, leaving the building, and she stops by me. She didn't stop by anyone. She stops by me. She looks over. Audley, your hair's changed, because in the Olympics I had all my hair in all the rainbow colours. But obviously going to see Mom, I just took it out in a little afro. and you know, her and stopped by the table. So obviously, everyone's like giddy. Oh my God, what did she say? What did she ask? Like the whole thing was about Audley Harrison and the Queen stopping and talking to me. Like, knew me personally. Like, that's how it felt. That's how they made it. Like, I'm just saying, the power of the aura, the personality, the nice guy. That's who I am. That's who I was. That's who I'm back to claim. So you're saying, why am I back? Why have I been active on social media? Like I said, the Deontay Wilder fight and Fury fight made me fall in love with boxing again. Been out of love with boxing. Because only because I didn't have the leverage to be able to talk. I could, like, when I talk to people, come on, man, you need to make excuses. You're fighting against David Day, and you're fighting against Deontay, and David Price knocked you out. Michael Sprott knocked you out, and Frank Warren's show. Oh my God, and you lost that taxi driver, Martin Rogan, on Frank Warren's show in 2008. I mean, I had him fucking squealing like in the 6th, 7th, or 8th round. I had him out of there. He survived, fair enough, and but there's no way he won that fight.
Audley, let me just ask you. Sorry, obviously you mentioned Carl Froch there. Could you just kind of summarise the situation with Carl Froch currently on social media was going on a little while ago, because I saw him tweet you back, making some a reference to the Wizard of Oz, etc., etc. Could you just summarise the situation regarding yourself and Carl Froch, please?
Sure. So what happened with Carl Froch? Poor little Carl Froch. So look, like I said, when I turned pro and I lost when I lost my strength and kind of capitulated, he didn't kind of directly do anything like directly to my face, but just sideways, just like started like disrespecting my name, just like a hairy little thing. And he obviously thought Audley Harrison never going to get back to the top again and be the king, because when I was coming through as the amateur in the Olympic, I was the king. All those other guys, no disrespect, were not like my puppies, but I was the king who they all looked up to. I was older, and I'd taken the amateur boxing game by the balls, and I was running the show. In terms of getting funding for Commonwealth Games, in terms of getting funding for the Olympics, that was me. I'm the one that got it. I'm the one that marched to Parliament and met the sports minister, Tony Banks, and got 500 grand to allow us to go to the Commonwealth Olympics with me. You're right, Kugi.
Yeah.
So me, I got all of that. So I was very powerful and successful, because I delivered the goods with the Olympics. And so Carl Froch, when I was in the amateurs, like I said, I was very powerful, built myself. I studied sports psychology at college. I came from jail, no qualification, but I went to study sports psychology, and really built myself into a beast, understanding sports psychology. I know Steve Bunsey remember this actually. In 2000, my first loss in the amateurs ABAs. I remember I lost in the London ABA finals to Julius Francis 2-1. Another guy I avenged as a pro, my losses, and so I was out of the ABAs, and so I just was out there partying, living life, and I ended up getting a call like a day of the fight, say, hey, you can fight for the semi-finals. Something happened why Julius didn't fight, and so he pulled out. So I got a call to fight a guy called Rod Allen in Preston, and I hadn't trained for 4 weeks. So I went up there, and I fucking boxed shit. Fucking carrying up, and he was beating up on me. It's a bit like how you see me in my pro with the Danny Williams won. I'll talk about that next. But Rod Allen. So I'm like, what the fuck happened? I was like a bad boy on road. I was like a serious little bad boy, and I folded. And I was like, wow, what happened? Obviously preparation. I wasn't there, and I folded. And so I was like, I can't ever make that happen again. So I saw sports psychologists and started reading psychology books, and then obviously, when I went to university, I learned some, carried on learning sports psychology, and I became an absolute, as Eddie would say, an absolute bloody monster. I learned how to control this, the mind. And then obviously when you added it to my performances, like living in Sydney and Como, I just became a beast, a machine, a perfect specimen, like no doubt about it. So Carl Froch now, in the amateurs, wasn't the confident guy that you see now. Carl Froch he was summoning in camp, and I'm sure there's many of the boxers from camp who will vouch for it. He was the guy, he was the one fighter that we all used to take the piss out. We used to walk around camp, England camp, no confidence. And so we used to just take the piss out of him. He wasn't the most popular guy in camp. With a big nose, not confident. He was just a pest. People used to tolerate him. And what happened? But he was decent. He was decent. He had a good chin on him. More than anything else, he had a good chin. Technically, he wasn't that great and coming through, but he was okay. But what happened was, so you had the Olympic qualifiers and you also had the World Champs going on at the same time. Got the money for the funding. We won the Commonwealth Games 1998, and we won 4 golds. I was on the golds and 2 silver or 2 bronze. The middleweight was Johnny Pierce then. Johnny Pierce, loved Johnny Pierce. So Froch was like number 2, so he didn't have a look in. So Johnny Pierce got the shots to go for the Olympics, didn't make it. And then Froch came in afterwards, I believe, qualified for the World Champs. But what happened was we were in the World Champs, and if you got to the final, first and second place qualified. So Froch made it. He won his bronze medal bout. There was no need for him to fight in the final, in my opinion. But the England squad, the England team management said, look, basically, you're not Audley, so you're going to fight in that fight. You cannot not pull out, not be in the final. I was like, Carl, fuck him. Don't fight in that final, because you already qualified. Just save yourself for the Olympic qualifier or the World Championship qualifier, whichever it was. Don't even think about it. You dare. You better not. You better not. You better listen to me. Don't listen to him. I was like a rebel. I was such a troublemaker. The England's hierarchy, still today, that's why they don't celebrate me. That's why my name ain't on that building, the Audley and Sheffield Institute. Because it should be. But it's not on there because, I caused them a lot of trouble. But I caused them good trouble. This John Lewis, the great freedom fighter, civil rights leader, said, make good trouble. I made good trouble because they would never, ever win an Olympic medal without yours truly, Audley Harrison. So anyway, in this qualifier, so Carl Froch, no word of a lie, you can ask anybody, they'll vouch for it, he was there, and there was many fighters there. They went around like wildfire. He actually started crying on my shoulder, crying, like actually crocodile tears, crying, because the England bosses were forcing him to fight. He didn't want to fight. All the fighters were just taking the piss out of him, grow a bloody peer. So being the nice guy, and being the boss, and being the king of the tribe, I said, I'm going to help him out. So I gave him a book on psychology. I said, look, Carl, you joker, here's this book on psychology, okay? I'm the guy. I gave him his first psychology book. He lapped it up like a lapdog, reading through his, and I gave him the steps to control, relaxation, visualization. I've done the same thing with Tony Jeffries and David Price and all that when they went to the Olympics in 2008. I was the unofficial Team GB sports psychologist. No doubt about it, all the way through. 2000 Olympics, even 2004, I was in America, pro, still unbeaten. And I flew from the UK to Cyprus. You ask Amir Khan, they'll tell you. I flew to Cyprus to a Team GB holding camp. Being that guy, and by then my lawyers were also Amir's lawyers. I flew to Cyprus to the holding camp, and I worked with Amir for a week, I think, giving him those fundamentals with southpaws. And obviously, when I won the silver medal, I definitely do take some credit for that. I don't blow my trumpet about that, and I don't need to, because I know, he know, I know, and that's cool. But that's my power, that's my influence, that's my leverage. That's who you're dealing with when you talk about Audley Harris. So I lost all of that strength and all of that leverage with shit that happened. But nevertheless, Froch knows this. So Froch now built himself into, like, psychologically, he's built himself into a beast. Like, you know, he read these books and he does psychology, so he understands it now. But like you saw with Andre Ward, like there's levels to this. And because technically he didn't really have fundamentals going through camera, he was never going to be able to beat an Andre Ward at that level. Like, oh yeah, but he lost to Jarrell or something. But just talking about Ward is good enough. He would never have got over that hump. Technically, he didn't have it. And don't get me started about Joe Calzaghe. I mean, he's been like chasing fucking Calzaghe like a bad dream over the years. It's like, you talk about pathetic, it's like pathetic to watch. Like Joe Calzaghe, you know, I don't need to blow smoke at Joe Calzaghe's fucking ass. I'm not that guy. You know, obviously I give Frank a credit. You know, he got me back on the you know, Calzaghe for Hopkins and in Las Vegas. Who was the chief support for that bout? Like yours truly, like with all the world press, and who was fighting on the chief? Who came out just before fucking Joe Calzaghe and fucking Bernard Hopkins? Yours truly, Mr. Audley, Fraudley, they call him Fraudley, Audrey Harrison came out, big bag of money, and you know, Jason Barnett. I love Jason Barnett plays poker now, so I see him on the hey Jason buddy, but you know, and I look good, you know, so lamb to slaughter. You know, I dropped in a beautiful body shot. Again, I looked like the guy, and I had the swagger, the confidence, like the guy. You think Carl Froch's never been on that level? And this is not even fighting for world titles. But this is the power that I had. This is the swag that I had. This is what I created. And this is who's back.
Sorry.
This is who's back.
Quick question. Did Jason Barnett fight Luis Ortiz? Towards the end of his career? Like a few fights before the end of his career?
I don't know. But like I said, the people that I fought, like my fourth fight, I fought Julius Long. And I fought Julius Long, he was unbeaten. So I was 4-0, he was 6-0. I mean, he was walking around like he was on skates. He like had horrible balance. But when I like Johnny Boss, I remember sitting with Johnny Boss. I said, Johnny Boss, look, I've got Frank Warren, these merry men. They're giving me a hard time in the UK. We need to find somebody that's going to get the British public, and the BBC were giving me a hard time as well now, because now they're like worried. And I'm like, look, you don't know boxing. Yeah, you want to pay, so you can never ever. So this is what I said to me. I said, you can never ever pick my opponent, because that's not the deal that we have. And you don't have, there's not one of you little public school boys can tell me about boxing and the right opponent. So you'll never, I forbid you from talking to me about opponents. But, I remember Gary Richardson, but you work for us? No, be quiet. I don't work for you. I'm on your payroll, but I'm independent. I don't work for nobody. This is Audley Harrison, this is A-Force, and that's how we roll. If you don't like it, tough. Now, that's a lot to take, KUGAN, from a little black boy from the ghetto, and you're paying my wages. It's a lot for them to take. So I understand that, because that's how I was. Because what that meant was, Coogie, baby, it means that I could never afford. When you're that kind of character, you have to be perfect. See, like Floyd Mayweather. You have to be perfect. And he was. And I was on my way to doing that. That's why once I got by 2003, I understood the assignment. So every time I turned up, look at me. Look at my fights from 2003, 2004, and forget about the rest. Look at my fights in 2003. You can see this kid understood the assignment. And he was on the verge of being that guy, because I knew the assignment. Because when I was in the boardroom and sitting with those people, I was no joke with them, no mercy with them. But it means that I had to be perfect. I couldn't fall, because the minute I fall, they were gonna kick. Or if you ever fall, you could just see it in their eyes. I remember once I brought nobody had a Lincoln Navigator, American big SUV. I brought a big SUV cash, and one of the papers picked it up. You know, they had me and one of my girls jumping out of one of the nightclubs. Audley, flashed new car. And in the week, I'll go to my meeting, it would be whatever meeting. The first thing they say is, Audley, we see that you got a new car. I'm like, how fucking dare you? How dare you? I said, do you say that to Jonathan Ross and to fucking Gary Lineker, asking them about their toys that they buy or their houses? How dare you? Don't you ever say something like that to me again about my private life. Cuss them out. They were like, oh, like, don't. So that's the kind of person I was. So you can see, but then the other side, I was like this smiling, nice, like jovial, does the poems, you know. So I'm a contradiction because I was two sides. And see, a lot of people in Britain, a lot of people didn't get to see the other side. Fighters did in the gym. Like the people that I had in my gym, like I said, like Warren Bean. I used to spar with like Warren Bean, the world champion, Harvey Mora. People that we used to bring into camp. Was no joke. Like when I turned pro, like Michael Sprott was a seasoned pro. Crawford Ashley was a seasoned pro. Gary Delaney was a seasoned pro. I had all seasoned pros in my gym, like from my first training camp. And Phil Torrance, like, you know, his lineage, his history, like Eddie Futz, goes back 100 years. There's only a few trainers that have that lineage, that have that royalty. You know, Phil Torrance is one of them, my trainer. You know, remember I sat with many times with Emmanuel Stewart, through Lennox. Georgie Benton was the one guy I never got to sit with, who I wanted to sit with. Georgie Benton and Lou Duva. Angelo Dundee, sat with Angelo Dundee many times. It's like, Angelo Dundee trained Muhammad Ali, some of the greatest. Come on now. Audley Harrison on the phone or chilling with Angelo Dundee in Miami. This is the power. This is my leverage. This is a guy who didn't win a world title. This is a guy who's not going to ever be a Hall of Famer. But you got to understand that Audley Harrison is a king amongst men in boxing. And
Audley, let me just ask you, how is the current situation with Carl Froch, aside from those tweets and stuff that we've seen over the last...
I haven't heard nothing from Carl Froch. And the thing why I put him on blast is because I'm disappointed that he kind of took the side of the boxing establishment because he felt my leverage was going to be weak, or it went weak and I'll never get back to position of strength. Carl Froch should always hold me in the highest regard, because without me, he would have never have learned psychology, and he would have never fulfilled his potential. He would have always been this little scared, little frightened, looking no confident looking guy with a great chin. That's who he would have been, right? So he doesn't owe me fuck. I don't need him to owe me, but he better recognize, and he better stop with the bullshit and make peace with me and fucking up and say, Audley, you know what? I was an arse, and make peace, because I don't war with him. I don't want to war with him. I just want him to recognize who he's dealing with. Like, it's that simple. And if he does, I'll let it go and we move on. I said the same thing about James Jordan. People are saying, you know, dancing with Big Brother. They're like, Audley, James Jordan went after you, and why didn't you just knock him out? I'm like, listen, TV is pantomime, okay? I'm the only person in that Big Brother house who had the contract that said, if you put your hand on anybody, Mr. Harrison, you will not get a penny. And I've told you guys many times before, Audley Harrison likes a pound note. He loves a penny. No, he doesn't love it. He loves a penny. Talk about Floyd Money Mayweather. Remember in camp up there in Big Bear, like, my name is Audley. My name is Audley Mayweather. I love the cheddar. I love the cheddar. So I'm not going to do anything to jeopardize my cheddar. You understand? So I was never gonna hit James. But I did say to him, James, listen, you're a dancer. I understand you're trying to find your identity. I'm the wrong guy to step to. I'm the wrong guy. And if we weren't in this Big Brother house, I promise you, I will pull your pants down and I will beat you on your bottom like your daddy. I said 100%. don't get it twisted. I am not that guy. So, and his eyes, and there's no disrespect. He just started following me on Twitter. I said, "There's no disrespect, James. I got love for you. You got your family. You had to do your thing. I understand that, but I said then, don't ever get it twisted, because I'm not that guy." And I looked into his eyes, and they say your eyes don't lie. And he was like, holy fucking hell, this man! It was that kind of thing, And I think they picked it up on the camera, or it looked like they picked it up on the camera. But that's it. We could do pantomime in the Big Brother house and we can play. But come on. And this is the reality. This is the reality, Mr. KUGAN. This is the reality across all boxing. There's certain people, like I respect all fighters. I do. I respect all fighters. But certain fighters come through, the Lennox Lewis's, I'm talking about going back. And to be fair, Tyson Fury as well, what he done with Vladimir, people thought it was a fluke. I was like, and Vladimir had a lot of problems with his misses and like, was that legit? Like he pulled it off, he done it. And then what he done with Deontay, he's the stuff. He's the guy at the heavyweight right now. Now technically, he's not. He doesn't have the lineage in terms of the training. He does have it now with Sugar Hill, as you've seen the adjustment. Before Sugar Hill, he was like always on the back foot. But now with Sugar Hill, he's on the front foot and he's like a menace to society. So Tyson Fury has the stuff, mentally, physically, confidence, the swagger. That's the swagger you need to have as a heavyweight champ. That's how you walk around. Like Lennox wasn't the talker, but Lennox, like you just saw him with the rematch. I just posted his rematch with Hassim Rahman. You see Lennox walking out with his eyes, like I still get excited. Like Lennox was the guy. Like he walked out there based on preparation, and he took it how you're supposed to take professional heavyweight boxing. Now, to my detriment, I did disrespect the code. I got to hold the hand up, and that's why, to my detriment, I had to suffer because I disrespected the code. Because I was in camp with my 15 staff and my never 15 staff back in the office, balancing the books, and I disrespected the code. Lennox said, look, remember sitting with Lennox in his house in Jamaica in the Hill. After two people I've sat with. This is my power again. Sitting with Lennox in Jamaica in the Hill. Also sitting with Lennox in Brampton. And I got the rematch with Danny and destroyed him. I sat with Lennox. When you go to camp, you can't play. You have to go to camp, lock off and focus. And I was like doing it, but I was also running business. So I disrespected the code. The second person who came to me was Christopher Livingston Eubank. So when I lost to Danny in that Frank Warren show the first time, this is like the power that I had. This is the leverage and the respect. I was staying at like a private members club. I think it was either Home House or somewhere else, one of them, like hiding away because I lost to Danny on the Frank Warren. This is Frank Warren's 25th anniversary. I've got to tell the story about how that happened, why I went back for that fight, why Phil Torrance was in the corner for my biggest fight. But when I lost that fight, Eubanks on his big truck comes over. What the hell? Chris, fucking respect, Chris. Come over. What's up, man? It's like 2 days after the fight. He said, Audley, look, I had to come and see you. I had to come and see you. Like, you're the future of the heavyweight division. What the fuck just happened? Whatever happened, that guy in there, that guy, I don't know who that guy was. Who was that guy? And me and Chris had a heart. Chris, respect. Never gonna forget that respect and that love that you came to find me. You gave me those words of wisdom. And he said to me, look, Audley, you've made too much money and you basically become soft. You're sleeping in silk pajamas and you got to go back to the eye of the tiger. You got to go back. You got to strip yourself from all this bullshit, all this hype, all this thing. remember, this is Audley Harrison. I'm not even a world champion. I got superstar world champion Chris Eubank coming to see me and like pop his wisdom on me. That's the fucking power that I had, KUGAN. You think I need to worry about fucking Carl Froch or any of these other jokers? They're not on my level, back. Do you understand? It's just real talk. And Carl just needs to let it go, and me and him will be cool. But anyway, so Chris come and gave me that. It's a beautiful thing. And so obviously, you know, the rematch with Danny Williams, you know what happened. But there's a story behind the story. So let me just jump into that story quickly. So lost my deal with the BBC, left Britain, said F you Britain, and I ran to America, moved to America, and I was looking for something else. And I was a single guy, being a playboy, you know, just like 2 movies that I loved growing up was Rocky. So I obviously lived that winning the Olympics. The second movie that I like idolized growing up was Scarface. Tony Montana, which I took into the boardroom. That's how I went into the boardroom. The BBC thought they had this smiling guy coming in here, nice jovial guy that does poems. And I went in there like Tony Montana and said, where's the vault? Everything in that vault belongs to me. Obviously didn't need a gun to hold, and I had the leverage of the gold medal. It's like I had the leverage of the gold medal. And I took everything in that vault, and which is part of the reason why there was so much resentment, because they're like, this fucking guy just fleeced us for all our cash. Well, not for all our cash, because we've got deep pockets for the BBC. But saying that, why is he taking all that dough? So, you know, it caused a little resentment in there, for sure, because now what I know about negotiation and leverage, even if you can take everything, see the difference I've learned. See, in boxing, you take everything. That is such a dog-eat-dog word. But I learned now as a businessman of many years, even if you can take everything, you don't. You leave something on the table so that the other side feels okay and they don't feel like they've been, you know, don't feel like they didn't get anything. So that was a big lesson that I learned, which I didn't realize and understand 2 years later. But nevertheless, my first big fight, so I've lost my deal with the BBC. I went to America and done a deal with Al Heyman. I mean, Al Heyman is the guy, like, you know, Floyd Mayweather, you know, Heyman signed me. But I think Jermaine Taylor, Vernon Forrest, bless his soul. Like I said, a king amongst royalty. That's where I was. That's where I was positioned. I had the 2 fights in America on Best Damn Sports Show, so more TV time. Looked quite good actually. I boxed Robert Wiggins and Robert Davis, 2 Roberts, and they were both good American gatekeepers. If you know anything about boxing, you'll know that those 2 guys were decent. Robert Wiggins definitely. And I destroyed them. I went there and destroyed them. And it was funny because, like I said, 2004, I lost my strength in the UK, and like, you know, Superman left the building. But I was able to galvanize myself, you know, have those 2 bouts. But I remember Al Heyman flying me I flew from London to America by Concorde. I mean, just that. People like, I was there by Concorde. Yeah, it was fucking great. You know, to be able to just park 10 grand or wherever it was, 8 grand, fly by Concorde to go meet Ross Greenberg, who was the head of HBO boxing. Now, Ross Greenberg was like a ghost. It's like Al Heyman is now. You didn't get to see Ross Greenberg or know Ross Greenberg unless you were the guy or the guy to be. I remember Al bringing me to Ross, and this is like end of 2004, and they said, you know, Audley, you're not there now, but this door, this is for you. You are the future of the heavyweight division. I remember the Ring magazine, the Bible had me, Joe Messi, and Dominic Gwynn as the future of the heavyweight division on the front cover of the Boxing Bible. Talk about leverage. You talk about power. Audley Harrison, they didn't even won a world title, an unbeaten heavyweight on the front cover of the Boxing Bible, the Ring. So I'm sitting with Ross Greenberg, and they said, like, you know, we have you as the next Lennox. We don't know if you're going to get there, but we definitely have you as the next Lennox. So our door's open to you. You know, like a beautiful thing. Now, a year before that, Kugi, I would have been like so excited. But the thing about it, like the transition that I was going through, I was like, boom, boom. It was like so overwhelming. I like the guy the year before, you know, this is what I wanted, this is what I dreamed of. But the new guy, the Audley guy, is now married off, looking for something different. It's like wasn't the same. I just knew inside something wasn't the same, you know. And so I took that. But what happened after that fight? So after that meeting, so I'm in America, and I'm kind of like pestering Al. I'm like, Al, hey, Al, we need a big fish we can bite off. Remember, we couldn't get nobody to fight me. I was a southpaw, I was unbeaten. Nobody wanted to take the risk with me. I remember Jamil McCline was a big heavyweight rank. We went after him. We were calling him Jamil Decline because he wouldn't take the fight. Like, hey, Jamil Decline. He was like, I was offering like 200 grand, they wouldn't take it. So I said, what about Shannon Briggs? Let me go after Shannon Briggs. So then, let's go, champ. We went after Shannon Briggs. So we offered him a big go, trying to get him. He won it. And no disrespect, but I definitely 100%. We went after Shannon. Quintana had just come back. Well, he was coming back. But we were just looking for a big name to chew. But I couldn't get it, so I got a little frustrated. And I think Al and Fel, so the whole story with Fel now. So, you know, Fel's been in my camp, running my camp for all of my fights. I'm 19-0, future of the heavyweight division. And I went off and got married in 2005. So yeah, I don't think they were happy with me. And so what happened was, so it's 2005, and I kind of got Fel to sitting around while I'm just chilling, got married in August. So Fel starts working with Hassim Rahman. No, but yeah, he starts working with Hassim Rahman. Hassim Rahman is fighting James Toney for the title. And so Fel's like, shit, I have to go get paid. I'm not going to sit around waiting for A-Force. So Fel goes off to camp with Hassim Rahman, who's fighting James Toney. And Frank Warren is promoting his anniversary show. His main event is Matt Skelton and Danny Williams. So I'm in Vegas chilling. And like 5 weeks before, Matt Skelton pulls out. I got married in August. It's now like October, so I haven't trained. And Frank comes and said, hey, Audley, look, you know, we just lost Matt Skelton. I know you always wanted to fight Danny. Danny's been the guy, God's talking about you. Or remember, Audley, you said you win a British title in 5 fights. Remember? So here's an opportunity. I'm like, fuck that. I said, number one, I told you I'd never fight for you. And I'm definitely not fighting on your anniversary show, so you can kiss. But then, so I'm like, hey, I'm reaching out to Al, like, you know, can't get the fight. So I'm like, fuck it, like, it's 5 weeks notice. I'm like, you know what, fuck it. So what happened was, I was like, you know, I'm gonna take it. I was like, before I take it, let me just call Fel. So I called Fel. I said, Fel, listen, I'm taking a fight with Danny Williams. Matt Skelton pulled out. It's 5 weeks notice. Fel, I need you to come to camp. You know, I need Fel. You've had 19 fights. I've been, you know, you've been with me for 19 fights. Hassim Rahman's just come. I don't want to hear that you're in camp. And yeah, he's fighting for a world title. I don't business. You have to camp and come camp with me. Now, obviously, that's my ego talking, that's my pride talking, because it's not realistic for me to expect a Fel Torrance to break his camp when he's already in camp with Hassim Rahman, who's fighting for a world title against James Toney. It's not really, but my ego was, you know, so the ego was out of whack then. So I said, Fel, if you don't come, I gave him the worst thing you can do, give him an ultimatum. Fel, if you don't come to camp, you're done. To me, you're done. He said, Audley, I cannot come to camp. He said, look, and he was like really trying to convey it. He said, look, Audley, what I've done is I've spoken to Hassim Rahman, and he's never done this before. Never done this before. But he will share a camp with you. Got to come up to Portland. I think they're training in Portland. Come up to Portland. So I was like, Audley, come up to Portland. Bring Kelvin, bring the team, and we'll share the camp. And Hassim has kindly said it'd be okay for you to join the camp. I said, are you fucking mad? I'm not joining the camp with anybody, world champion or not. You come to me or you're done with me. It's that simple. I'm 5 weeks to go. So I let Phil go, went to camp. And I have me and Kel, so I signed the fight. I flew to England, done the press conference, and didn't feel good about being in England. The last time I was there was the year before, in 2004. And I definitely didn't feel good about signing a contract for Frank Warren. When I, like I said, when I turned pro and I said, Frank, I'm never going to work with you. When I signed that contract, it's like I'm capitulating. I didn't sign that contract feeling good. I signed that contract feeling defeated because I'm signing this contract with this promoter who I can't stand, who I always told I'd never work with him. And now I'm being a sellout and I'm signing this contract for money, basically. Because why else am I taking it? Not for the glory, because I'm on his show. Why am I going to give him glory? So anyway, I fly to England, sign the contract, feel like shit, jump back to the plane, got 5 weeks to go. And it's just me and Kelvin in Vegas. Can't get, obviously lost Fel. Me and Kenny fell out. Kenny Kroom was Fel Torrance's assistant. And one thing that they said to me was, look, bring Fel on, he's your guy, and make sure you got Kenny Kroom with him. So for my whole 18, 19 fights, I had Fel Torrance and my Hoover Street Crip, because Kenny was a Hoover Street Crip back in the day. Gangster. Ooh, COVID's still sitting there a little bit. Ooh. Now let me just finish it up.
Finish it off.
So I had Kenny Kroom, couldn't get him in. So nevertheless, so I basically, me and Kelvin, like training like amateurs, like we're in the bloody Olympic camp again. Horrible, just like doing sprints and shit. No sparring really. And it was just not a fight that should have been prepared. My wife then was pregnant. She was in her first trimester. So that was all new to me. And sitting in England, I came to England with her. She's puking up her guts in the hotel at night. That whole week, I didn't sleep. Not one bit in the night. I fucked every night, all night, because I was still on American time. And then just dealing with the drama, knowing that I wasn't prepared, wasn't ready. But I'm like, I've signed the contract now. The thing about me, what was crazy about, because I was my own boss, I mean, it really came to a point where even I had people like Kelly Swanson with me, like Al Heyman. I had like the biggest people in the game. This is how powerful. I had the biggest people in the game in your Trudy's corner.
Yeah.
And I need to worry about Carl Froch. But the problem was, because I was so independent, it's not like, I mean, they gave me advice and they told me, but the final decision rests with me. So for that fight, 100% should have pulled out. I was not ready to go into that fight. But because of my pride and because I'd signed a contract, I can't pull out. It's almost like I was like, God, I know I've been a bad boy. I know I've been like Tony Montana. I know I've destroyed, taken advantage of the system. So whatever's going to be becoming of me in the next 24 hours, I'm going to take it as a man. Whatever happens, I'm not going to pull out. But I didn't pull out. And I went in there like, as Eddie said, like an absolute muppet. And I couldn't even fight. I don't even know how I got through the fight. It's almost like the whole fight was a daze. Somehow, I lost by split decision. Somehow, I lost by a split decision. But when I say I was in there, I don't even remember what happened. I didn't take no drugs or anything. I thought about it. I remember sitting there the day before, and I've heard that, boxers are taking coke or taking something. I remember sitting there, and I was like, I wonder if I should just take some coke. It's like, take something. It's like, make me get high, so I can just, tomorrow I can then just walk in there and, that's what I was going through. It was horrible. It was horrible. But I said, I can't pull out, whatever happens. So obviously I didn't pull out, and the rest is history. Because now, oh my God, remember I told you, like, you have to be perfect. Oh my God. After that fight, if you could bury me, you couldn't bury me no deeper than how of a good job they done burying me. Even Barry McGuigan, I remember Barry McGuigan. Oh, you got no art. I mean, even Barry was giving it to me because he was part of the system now where we don't believe in all this guy's a fucking joker. They all give it to me. They all like felt justified. Everybody, the whole world felt good. The whole boxing world felt vindicated. We told ya. See, we told ya. All of them were like, and they all felt good. It's like they won the lottery because Audley's now buried, and this guy is never gonna rise from these ashes. And the BBC, who screwed me, they're like, oh God, now we don't have to ever explain ourselves. He's gonna be so buried, we will never ever have to tell the truth about what happened. Thank you, boxing. Thank you, Frank. In fact, actually, what was so funny, Mike Lewis, who was the head of boxing strategy, he was an Arsenal crazy, an Arsenal fan, Arsenal nut, always used to be at Arsenal. And guess whose box he used to always be in? I wonder who. I bet it was a guy called Frank Warren. Now, Frank Warren's a Sky. He's Sky. Mike Lewis is BBC, head of boxing strategy. How fucking awkward is that? That you're sitting in the guy's box. Actually, sitting in the guy's box. How awkward is that? How funky, how stinky is that? So that you go to his box when you're on different. But anyway, that's by the by. But nevertheless, so the fight, I stink the joint out. I made all these guys feel great about themselves. They've all won the lottery. We all told you Audley's a fraud. So Audley has to jump on the plane, first class, of course, fly back to America with my tail between my legs. And still, after that, like Al Heyman said, Audley, look, I'm still going to stand by you. I mean, this is like Al Heyman, Mr. Al Heyman. I know nobody don't get to see you. Even I don't have that pleasure no more because I burnt that bridge. But Al Heyman, respect in every aspect. So Al still brought me back. Al said, Audley, I'm going to give you another opportunity. Another opportunity. So Al Heyman gives me Andrew Greeley. And I think Antonio Tarver was the main event. Tarver was the main event in Atlantic City. Just remember, Atlantic City, just remember in my 8th fight, Mr. Cooley, I don't know if you knew this about me. In my 8th fight, yours truly, Audley Harrison, thanks to Mr. Lou DeBella, thank you, Mr. Lou, and Al. My 8th fight, I fought in Atlantic City. Before the main event, do you know what the main event was, Mr. KUGAN CASSIUS?
I'm sure you're about to tell me.
The main event was one of the greatest scraps. We've seen some great scraps, and I've had the pleasure of watching these great scraps. It was Mr. Irish Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti. Blood, thunder, glory. Do you know who was on the chief support? Do you know who came out? Do you know who came out before them two came out? Audley Harrison. You want to talk about power, leverage, the future king in waiting, the king right here, right now is back. That guy is back. I boxed a guy called Sean Robinson. You know, a midget heavyweight that everyone, goes through. Atlantic City, I'm walking out. Just lost my uncle. My uncle just died. And being the guy, I wanted to bury him in Jamaica. I remember, so I flew to London. I flew from London to there. We flew the body from London to Jamaica. And I wanted to get rid of him quick because I had shit to do to go to Jamaica. I went there and looked good. Look good, mate. Look good. Went there, big heavyweight, walked through him because by then I had the stuff and I fought it and I believed it. Boom! Remember putting him on his back, lifted him up. I had like the 6-pack. I looked good. And in Atlantic City, they get me after that fight. I remember they all booed me walking out. Boo! Boo! When I walked out, hey, boss! Hey, boss! won them all over.
That was the same card as Gatty Ward, yeah?
Gatty Ward 2.
Gatty
Same
Ward
card,
2.
Gatty Ward. And it was it was that fight. There was that Gatty just going, Ward just going. Yes, he sold Gatty. But yeah.
Audley, didn't Paulie Malignaggi fight on that card as well?
See, that's how powerful I was and how crazy it was. I wouldn't even have known.
I think Malignaggi fought on that same card. So I remember Malignaggi talking about him fighting on that card.
They thought I wouldn't even know, but I was the chief sport. But maybe they did. Maybe he did. I couldn't even remember. But it was just beautiful to have that kind of experience. And then I went off and went to Jamaica and buried my uncle. And it was just a beautiful thing. It was just beautiful to be in that kind of power, kind of control. But yeah, so that's jumping back, but just jumping back to the Frank Warren thing. So yeah, I buried. So I jumped on a plane, flew back to America to tell them between my legs. And like I said, then Al Heyman still gave me an opportunity, gave me Andrew Greeley. So when I lost the first one, this is how great Al Heyman is. So when I lost the first one to Danny, came back to America, my tail between my legs. And really distraught to be fair, because I'm like, that's like they say, reputation is like growing up, like 50 Cent, like growing up, like part of that gangster Tony Montana mentality. 50 Laws of Power is one of the greatest books that I read. 50 Laws of Power. Just like talk about when you want to control, and you have power, you want to help. Yeah, that book was just the right time when I read it. And one of the big things in there was reputation is everything, guarding to life. And
Audley, listen, we have been running for like still over an hour and 15 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. Still, since we actually started recording, we've been running a long time. Listen, I do need to ask you, Audley. It's great to hear these stories. Brilliant, because we don't really get to hear some of this stuff that you're talking about. So it's great to hear this stuff. Yeah. But I do want to kind of just finish off on Anthony Joshua's situation at the moment. Yeah. Anthony Joshua reportedly, and I'll say use the term reportedly, is set to accept potentially a sum of money to allow Tyson Fury to fight Alexander Usyk with a view to fight the winner. 15 million has been mentioned. I don't know how accurate that is. This is just a report. I don't want to say that this is 100% the case, because I've not heard from kind of Joshua or Eddie Hearn regarding this. But what's your thoughts on Anthony Joshua regarding that, and also his training situation, which is a little bit up in the air by the looks of it as well?
So, Coogie, baby. So, obviously, I've done a lot of posting today, and a lot of people have missed some of the stuff. But I've done like 5 posts on the Anthony Joshua situation. You didn't see it?
Audley, to be fair, you've tweeted about 395 times in the space of 24 hours. So I haven't seen everything. I've seen
I'll be the energizer buddy. So, okay, so let's just jump into the AJ. So this is what I said. I said, look, now, I just heard a rumor about Anthony Joshua. Now, that's very juicy, and I cannot hold back and not have something to say. I should I not say that? I said, no, I have to say something, and I have to keep it 100% real. AJ, I've got a lot of love for you. I've got love for every fighter. I don't fear you. I don't fear anybody. And I will say what I will say, and I will keep it 100. Now, I said, and I tagged them in. I said, Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson, Holyfield. I know there was the whole thing with Riddick Bowe and throwing the belt into the trash. But just real talk. When you have your belt, when you lose as a champion, and you're worth like 100, obviously you made 100 million, 200 million, and you're worth the money that he's worth. The only thing that he should be thinking about is getting Usyk in that ring as soon as possible. As soon as possible. Well, when I say as soon as possible, there's a caveat to that. But I don't want to hear don't talk to me about no 15 million. You've made it up. I don't want to hear that. I heard something that he came out and he said that's bullshit. If it didn't come from him, then it's just bullshit. But what he said was, what I heard him say, it still didn't sound right. He said, I haven't signed a contract yet. What he should be saying is that, fuck the contract. There is no contract. There's not going to be no contract. I'm fighting Usyk next, and I'm not stepping aside. Simple. But that's the boxing. That's the Joshua. I mean, Joshua's come from the Olympics. Eddie Hearn, fast track Eddie, has moved in fast.
Audley, can I just say one thing before you continue?
Yes.
At the start of this interview, you did say to me, though, in regards to yourself, it is about the money as well.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So regardless of whether you're worth 200 million, if he is getting a reported 15 million to allow two heavyweights of his era that he could potentially fight to kind of knock lumps out of each other, then is he really wrong for doing that?
No. When there's a certain line, it's hard to distinguish. I know what I've said about, like, I'm about the Benjamins, and 100%. But like I said, like, a good example is going to the Olympics. Like Frank Warren, like 1998 when I won the Commonwealth Games, he said, "Audley, look, nobody's won an Olympic medal for 32 years. You're not going to win an Olympic gold medal because you're good, but come on, like Lesin, Samuel Peter, you've got people that are going to give you too much trouble. So here's this deal. I'll give you 100 grand, right? So this is an idea. When you believe in yourself, it's not about the money. So Frank says, here's 100 grand, Audley. Audley, here's 100 grand. You sign with me that now, we go on Sky, and I'll make you a world champion and fabulously rich in 3 years. I said, Frank, let me ask you a question, buddy. And he's sitting down, Frank, at some fancy restaurant, having lunch. He's paying the bill, of course. And I said, Frank, listen, if I go to the Olympics in 2 years and win a gold medal, because that's what I believe I can do, how much will you pay me? How much will that 100 grand be worth? He said, Audley, fuck off, you're not going to win a fucking gold medal. And that fucking 100 grand I'm offering you now is going to be worth fucking 10 grand. So if I was you, I would take the 100 grand, fucking get on with it. You're fucking 27 years of age, Audley. Are you really telling me that at 29 years of age, you think you're going to be able to be a factor in the heavyweight division? I said, Frank, listen, number one, I'm going to win a gold medal in 2 years. That's number one. I said, I know that 100% guaranteed, no doubt in my mind. I know I'm going to win a gold medal. So when I do that, Frank, my good friend, see, then it was jovial. We used to be at jovial. I said, Frank, when I do that, when I come back to you, how much is that 100 grand going to worth? He said, oh, leave that off. You ain't freaking getting it. No, you're going to get 10 grand. So what I'm saying to you is, Mr. Kugi, they're offering me like 100 grand. I said, this is not about the money. This is about the glory. This is about making history. This is about showing the world that when you believe in something, you apply yourself, and you match your talent with your purpose, and you have a why. See, my why, Mr. Kugi, my why wasn't just about winning the gold medal. My why is sitting with Tony Banks, what I created. My why was to finish my job of winning that gold medal that would secure the future of boxing. See, winning that gold medal, see, Ian Irwin, alongside me, I helped him, wrote the world-class performance plan. The Olympic Institute, it was called world-class performance plan. Boxing wasn't signed up yet. What boxing needed was a gold medal in the Sydney Olympics for that plan to start. Like I said, we got 500,000 from the sports minister. We didn't get it from the world-class performance plan. So what that needed, when you talk about all these influence and power, Kugi, you think about it. You tell me what my influence is. To win that gold medal, that got England 4 million quid, which is a lot of money back then, to start a full boxing program. Even though they only got Amir through, he won a silver medal, which continued it. He actually didn't meet the benchmark but because he was so young, 17, they accepted the silver medal. It was meant to be a gold medal for the program to continue. So all of the England HQ was shitting themselves, thinking they're going to lose out on the cash, because now they were dependent on it. They're employing, when Terry Edwards, Kelvin, they're not using Crystal Palace. So the point is, that was the power of my gold medal. So I actually think, and because the problem is, they took that money and ran with it. They didn't have the decency to really acknowledge the impact. Yeah, they put a big poster. I see that they have a big poster of me in Sheffield Institute. But keeping it real, that's not enough. That's not enough. There should be that should be called the Audley Harrison Institute of Boxing, because that's my impact. That's how many all those fighters that came through after with that lottery money from the 2008 James DeGale, David Price, Jeffries, definitely 2012 with Joshua, Nicola Adams, and all that. They're only there because I got them the gold medal and the 4 million quid in 2000. Don't get it twisted. Don't make no qualms about it. People want to try to damp. Don't give all the. Let's not tell the truth, right? Let's hide the story. Let's say it was about Amir in 2004 as well. Well, Audley, but also Amir. No, it's not one bit. Audley Harrison, 2000, is the pioneer, the only, the last, and the one guy. And because of that, that one guy has a lifelong license on Mount Rushmore, boxing Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Not world titles. I'm talking about British boxing. And they better reopen the door and put the red carpet out and let me walk back into boxing where I want to be. Because like I said, I'm back in love with boxing now. And I want to get somebody I can chew, to guide, to manage, to train.
Yeah.
With that lineage, from Eddie Futch, Angelo Dundee, Buddy McGirt, Shadid Saluki, and my lovely little Kelvin Travis. But, real talk. All those people that I've touched, I have all this knowledge in my head that I need to give to somebody. And I'm going to give to somebody, because now I'm back in love with boxing again. I'm coming back to find the right. So when you ask me, what are you doing all this for? I'm doing this, Kugi, to reintroduce myself to the boxing fraternity. But I'm not coming in like apologetic and being nice about it. Sheffield Institute of Sport. See, what they done was they were like very nasty about it, because you took that money. You've got all these boxers now being paid. You've got all the sports science team being paid. You're not acknowledging Audley Harrison. You're not putting me on the platform that I'm supposed to be. And because of that, I'm calling you out. And it's gonna be my purpose to keep you honest. See, Robert McCracken was trained by Feld. I know a lot of people don't know that. He was touched by Feld. So Robert had a bit of the stuff. And then he got the performance, he got the boxing job, got the offer. He wouldn't turn it down. But the problem is, there is absolutely no way. This is the bullshit that you're putting up with. This is the bullshit that's happening that you get away with when you're you think me as a black man could do that? This is the shit that he's getting away with, because he's a little quiet, nice little Robert Cracken from Birmingham, a Brummie, and he's a nice guy. There is absolutely no way that he's supposed to be running the amateur program and running Anthony Joshua's program as a pro. Absolutely no way. And the fact that this is the whole part of why Anthony Joshua is losing and falling. The fact is that camp should not, Anthony's a pro now. And what you've done as an amateur, and even though he's had all this success, made all this money, what you've done as an amateur, training that setup, it's almost disrespectful. I would look at it as disrespectful. Lennox, I know Lennox with 100%. And any other champion, even Fury. Look at Fury, he's in Vegas now with his boys doing camp the right way, away from everybody. What Joshua is doing is all wrong. And I'm not afraid to tell him that. And it's real talk, and he needs to listen and understand. If he doesn't want to hear it from me, he's his own boss, he makes his decisions. Good, you keep doing that. But what you have to, even though Fel was a little older, and I was running the show-ish. When it came to camp, and no, I didn't run the show. Fel Thomas ran the show. That's what. When I went to Buddy McGirt ran the show. When I went to Shadid ran the show. That's what they don't realize. All these, they don't realize I done it the right way. yeah, I lost my strength in 2004. I went to camp with Lennox, saw how they done it. They done it the right way. I've been in camp in Big Bear with Sugar Shane. I mean, Sugar Shane used to let me use his house. You talk about my power and my leverage and who I am. Respect Sugar Shane. That's the kind of power leverage. The access that I had to fighters, to boxing executives, to boxing, just like boxing royalty, I had that. And that's because I was boxing royalty. And I lost my leverage, but now I'm back. And thankful for that heavyweight fight that got me so excited. And not just that fight. Then I went to Terence Crawford and Bud. I went, top rank actually. Brad Jacobs, beautiful. Well, again, my power, just like my leverage from back in the day, still has the respect for me. But all the comfort, I can't do anything for Tyson Fury and Deontay. So, paid my $1,000 for my seat. I didn't mind. I'm so glad I paid. It was the best $1,000 I spent for a boxing match because obviously 99% I don't pay. But Brad said, Audley, don't worry, I got you. Brad Crawford and Porter come as my guest. And he honoured that. And for that, there's still honourable men in boxing. And Brad done that. And that fight there was, again, another great fight that's just got me excited. So that's why I'm here, Kugi. I love boxing. Look at this. Look behind me. I've got all my stuff up there. I love boxing again. It beat me up for a little bit. I kind of dimming my light, walking around a little dim. Didn't want to shine my light, but it's back. Superman is back. And the smartest person, let me just say, the smartest, like Robin McCracken, like I said, he's a good guy. I like him, but he's like this camp of like doing the England setup. I think he's now only the performance director, so he's not as a trainer. But doing the England setup and doing the professional setup is an oxymoron that cannot work. And Joshua, that setup cannot work for him no more if he's serious. And these 100 guys who, I don't know who you, I see these pictures like with 50 people in there. Like, I went to a Lennox camp and learned from Lennox and all that. Like, there's essential people that we need in camp. 7, 8 people. There's essential. Main trainer, the chief support, your family member, because you always got to pay your family member, and they do all kind of mixed jobs. Sports conditioner, or maybe a sports psychologist, but you need your 3 sparring partners or more. You need your chef, but that's all you need. The rest of the people, I don't know what he's doing. You can't tell me what to do. You're the cap. This is you can't. There's a boxing protocol that has to be done. Look at Lennox. Even look at Vladimir. You see Vladimir look at Vladimir's career early on. I remember getting beat up by Lamont Brewster. Even in his 15th fight, I can't remember who he lost to. He lost to somebody early in his career. Obviously, then he lost to Lamont Brewster. But then when he went to Emmanuel finished him off. Emmanuel was a finisher. Emmanuel wasn't going to take you from your first fight. I know he had the Kronk gym, so in the Kronk gym he had a lot of guys. But the modern day fighters that he just took you and finished you. Like Lennox, he had Pepe Correa, he was like a hype man. But fundamentally, when Lennox went to Emmanuel, he finished him off. And he got boxing's about timing. There's certain things that I know about boxing that Joshua needs. He doesn't have it right now, like timing and distance. The fundamentals that the history of boxing, of training at the top levels from Emmanuel Stewart to Angelo Dundee, there's a code. There's a code that you have to teach. No matter the style, there's a code. And for whatever reason, Robin McCack, because he knows it, because he's been with Phil, he hasn't taught that to Joshua. So Joshua, there's a missing link. But the thing is, he's a world champion. He's made money. Eddie's been able to fast track him. And he's been able to get there. See, Tyson Fury has done it a different way, but he's done it the right way because he's learned to fight. And he used to box before, but now he's with Emmanuel Stewart's son, Sugar Hill, or cousin, uncle. And he's getting that lineage that's finishing him off. Sugar Hill's like another guy who's finishing him off. He ain't going to take you from the beginning. That's who I am in this game. Without even having trained I trained a poker player, a very famous poker player, Antonio Estandari, a couple of years ago. That was my reintroduction to boxing. And him and Kevin Hart, the famous actor, they had a $350,000 bet to fight each other. So I reached out to my buddy, another famous poker player, Daniel Negron. I said, hey, get me that gig. Let me link me up with him. So I got to meet Antonio, and Antonio was a little taller, never boxed before. And I said, okay, if I win, if I get you to win $350,000, yeah, got my nice little check. But I wasn't doing it for the check, doing it for the glory. And so Kevin Hart's small little motor mouth, strong. He had his little team around him, all hype. But I'm a guy, like I said, I'm connected to 100 years of boxing lineage. So I said to him, listen, I promised Antonio and his wife and his kids, and not his kid, him and his wife. I came to his house, his big little mansion, and I'm like, listen, I promise you this. If you make me train you, I promise you this. Your nose, you've got a little bit of a nose. I said, I promise you, your nose will look exactly how it is now. That's the word I give to you. Oh. You will not get hurt. I will not make Kevin hurt you. And in fact, you're going to do to him, you're going to surprise yourself. And so this thing was big. It's like TMZ, it was blown up on TMZ. And, when the fight came to, we worked for 7 months together. And I taught him boxing fundamentals. By the time the fight came up, the fight week, because he didn't believe it before, he was and I had him sparring with, oh my God, how can I forget his name? My Filipino buddy, world champion. I feel so bad, disrespectful that. Obviously, it wasn't Manny Pacquiao, but world champion. But that's who I brought in as his sparring partner. And I said, look, if you can handle, he put him down like 8 times in camp. If you can handle this Energizer Bunny in camp, I use Tony Jeffries' gym boxer word. If you can handle this guy, Kevin Hart's not going to be able to. Come on, think about it. So we went like from a little boy. It's almost like Carl Froch, like how Carl Froch worked with his low confidence and then building his confidence. So I took him. This is what made me know how dangerous I am. I took him from because I said I don't normally do ground zero. I took him because this was like an opportunity. It was like a big payday. I took him from ground zero and I taught him boxing. This is how I know how dangerous I am. This is the guy that never boxed. I took him from ground zero, taught him the boxing. He was taller, so obviously you've got to use your reach, timing and distance. I taught him all these little tricks, for example, like Deontay Wilder. Never like a dangerous heavyweight, but doesn't have the tricks, hasn't had the tricks taught to him. With Malik Scott now, if Malik Scott stays with longer, Malik Scott is another guy who's been in camp with many times, so he knows the tricks. Probably didn't have enough time with him, but Deontay, what I'm saying is he doesn't know the tricks of tying up. There's so much tricks involved in boxing for you to be a trainer, a real trainer, like a coach. And all of those tricks, Kugi, I know every one of them. From, like I said, Phil Torrance teaching me to the bodybuilding. So I've got so much stuff. So I gave that all to a guy who's never boxed before. But when I say Kevin Hart's a beast, Kevin Hart's somebody who runs marathons, and Kevin Hart don't lose in anything. In life, Kevin Hart's just a winner. He's just not in life to lose. Like, almost finished.
You all right?
So,
All right.
Yeah, almost done. I know, it's been long. Shit. So just finishing the story, just the point I'm making. Just to make the point I'm making. This kid never boxed before. Boxed Kevin Hart. Taller. Like 100 celebrities in there. All these celebrity friends in there was in there. Kevin's celebrity in his. And Audley Harrison, nobody knew who I was before that, became a factor, became the it factor for that whole little industry, poker industry, acting industry, which I love. They're all like, got lots of buddies in there in the poker world now. I love poker. I play poker. I love them. I love Antonio. Become great friends. But he didn't believe it. But when he went in there, he finally believed as he's walking out, like doing the psychology, like the whole thing. I gave him the whole package: the sports psychology, the fitness, physical, the technical, the skill. And he walked out there. You need to find the fight. It was a beautiful thing. Like TMZ blew it up, and the second round, Like they were going at it. It was almost like, again, you've got to be a boxing aficionado to know what I'm about to talk about. I went to I went to the Boxing Hall of Fame one year, and the beautiful Layla Ali boxed Jackie Frazier. Can you imagine how beautiful that was? Jackie Frazier and Layla Ali fighting each other in the Boxing Hall of Fame. It was like, again, these are the kind of things, the experiences that I've had, the things that I've been exposed to. I knew Layla, your ex-husband in Vegas, you know, just was connected through that boxing world. And they had this fight, Layla Ali and Jackie Frazier. Like, it was like watching their parents fight. It was like again, like when I think back, the excitement of that fight in the tent. Layla Ali was like a little quick arms and looking like her dad. And you had Jackie Frazier like, ooh, like hooking in. It was like beautiful. And what happened was, in about the sixth round, there was a moment, they just had a war. And in the sixth round, they just stopped. It just stopped. It was like poetry in motion. And they just stopped right there in the middle of the ring for it was like 2 seconds. And they just stopped, like looked at each other. It was almost like that mutual respect, because they were like killing each other in there. And they stopped. And the whole crowd went silent. And it's like one of the most amazing things that you will see in a lifetime. In the Kevin Hart and the Antonio fight, in the second round, they were going at it like war. They were like throwing the whole crowd, like 100 people. Everybody's cheering. It's going back. I'm jumping up from the side. I'm like, fucking hell, I love this training thing. This training thing's fucking all right, isn't it? I'm so excited. And they, that second round, they went at it. And there was a moment they just stopped for a second, like that mutual respect, fighting cold. And Antonio Kevin said, I'm going to push. I'm going to try and get rid of you. And he was trying to get rid of him. And Antonio went back at him. It was like for guys who never boxed, it was something incredible. And Antonio won the fight. And like everybody was there. It was something they witnessed. You would never get the chance to witness. It wasn't televised. But, you know, Kevin was out on his feet. He was like, because he was so exhausted, he fucking didn't drink water. And all these, he had like 10 people in his corner. It was only me. It was only me and my Filipino champion. God, I'm so bad. I feel so bad. See, that's the part of boxing, maybe taking a few punches. I remember most stuff, but I can't remember his name, my buddy. But we were in the corner, and the emotion afterwards, the emotion of Antonio and his family, and just like of him winning and doing it. It was just like to be a part of that as a trainer, as I was his trainer, advisor, who's confident. To be a part of that. You know, obviously I had it with me, with Ian Irwin and Kelvin, like with the Olympics. It's something like, this is what I'm saying, how special I am, how special to be a part of that, like to just be a part of that. And so I want to be a part of that in the future, Kugi. That's why I've been saying to me why I want to be a part, I want to have that feeling. I can't get it as a fighter again. I don't want it as a fighter, but I want to be part of that emotion of that camp of delivering somebody. And I don't want to do it. I can't do ground zero. I'm too busy. My life, I've got a business. I've got family. I've got poker. I'm too busy. But I will make the time for one fighter. Okay. One fighter. And I want that fighter personally to be Anthony Joshua. That's who I want. I want Anthony Joshua, and I want to take him under my wing. Not being disrespectful, Anthony Joshua. I know you're a champion. And Eddie Earn. You bloody listen to me, Moa. Eddie, because I know you're part of this influence, right? And if it ain't Joshua, well, maybe it'd be Dylan White, maybe it'd be somebody else. But I want big, and it's got to be a heavyweight because I can't really play with littler weights. I could probably go cruiserweight, like maybe, but a heavyweight. That's what I'm looking for, and that's what this is about. That's why I'm coming back. I'm coming back as a king. And I'm looking to take a guy to have that emotion, to have that talent, and bring him there. That's me. That's a wrap.
Okay, Audley, listen, we might have to do a part 2 on this because my daughter has just started to cry. She needs a night feed, which I've held for the last 7 minutes. I need to go and do that. But listen, maybe we'll do a part 2 and have like.
No need to. We're done. Well, it depends. We could do a part 2 if like now, if a Joshua comes back or somebody, and they come back to open it up. But I hope they take it in the spirit that, I know I've been a little nasty online, but that's just how it is. I hope they take it in the spirit that it was thing. And I hope that the right person, I'm able to connect with them and help turn their career around and get them where they need to be.
Well, listen, Audley, it's been an hour and 40 minutes. So, yes, if you make it through this, yes, maybe they've got too much time on their hands. I don't know. But it's interesting listening, and it's really good to catch up with you. And like I said to you, well, if we see a response from Anthony Joshua about your comments, then we'll have a follow-up. Yeah, I think that's a good idea to do that.
Yeah, because otherwise there's nothing really to say. I think I've said everything. And
I think you have.
I appreciate the platform, buddy. And
no problem. Always welcome, Audley. I appreciate your time, a lot of your time. And yes, I'm going to go and attend to my daughter. This will be out Tuesday tomorrow in the UK. So I'll send you the link, post it out, and we'll see where it goes.
All right, baby. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Audley Harrison.